The day I woke up from a coma, I learned I was worth millions, and my family tried to convince the doctors to keep me unconscious. I'd been out for 3 weeks after a car accident. A delivery truck ran a red light, T-boned my sedan, and my head met the window at the wrong angle. When I finally opened my eyes, the first thing I heard was my aunt's voice in the hallway. "Can't we keep her sedated longer? The settlement clears Friday." My mom shushed her. The doctor said her brain activity is normal. I lay there, tubes in my arms, processing what I'd heard. Then my dad's voice. "If she wakes now, she'll want control of the money." Through cracked eyelids, I watched Dr. Patterson enter. My family's faces shifted instantly. Concern, love, relief like actors taking the stage. "Oh, thank God," my mom breathed. The settlement was $4.3 million. The truck company wanted to avoid trial. Since I was unconscious, my parents had power of attorney. They'd already accepted the offer. "We were protecting your interests," Dad explained. "The lawyer said waiting would risk everything, but I'd overheard enough. They delayed telling doctors I was showing consciousness, requested unnecessary tests requiring sedation, pushed for another week of induced coma. For her own good, they'd told Dr. Patterson. I played along, smiled weakly, thanked them. Meanwhile, I requested my medical records and found 14 instances where they declined to reduce sedation despite recommendations. I called the settlement lawyer. He was surprised to hear from me. "Your mother said you weren't ready for stress. She's been signing everything." "What paperwork?" Long pause. "The trust fund setup. Your parents are co-trustees with full access until you're mentally recovered," which they said could take months. I checked out the next day. My balance was off and I had headaches, but I could think clearly. I went to a different attorney. He reviewed everything with disbelief. "They've positioned themselves to control your settlement indefinitely. This clause about cognitive impairment is vague. They could claim you're incompetent for years." My aunt called. "You're not thinking straight. Come home and let us take care of you." But her voice had that edge from the hospital. The one calculating dollars while discussing my brain damage. I noticed things. They'd picked a house to buy for the family. Mom quit her job. My uncle drew up investment plans. 3 weeks planning their future while I was unconscious. They'd needed me to stay that way longer. The breaking point came when I found the papers. Dad left his briefcase after checking on me. Inside was a psychological evaluation. They'd hired an expert to testify I had post-traumatic cognitive impairment. The appointment was next week. I was supposed to fail. I called my attorney. "Can they do this?" "They can try. Conservatorship cases are hard to fight once established, especially with brain injury evidence." That night, my sister showed up, barely 20, and I'd always protected her. "I need to tell you something," she said, hands shaking. "They've been practicing, Mom and Dad, rehearsing what to say in court, about how you're not yourself. Are you testifying?" She looked at the floor. "They asked me to." The next morning, I bought a recorder. My family was coming for Sunday dinner. They thought I was still their confused, compliant daughter. I planned to record everything, but when they arrived, my uncle brought someone new, a man in an expensive suit with a leather folder. "This is Mr. Whitmore," Dad said. "He specializes in estate management for brain injury recovery." Mr. Whitmore smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "Your family wants to ensure you're protected from hasty decisions while healing. I've prepared papers for your long-term care." Conservatorship documents spread across my table. All they needed was my signature. "We're doing this because we love you," my mom said, tears in her eyes. I looked at my family, the people who'd asked doctors to keep me unconscious, who'd planned how to spend my money, who wanted me to sign away my autonomy. Then I saw my sister's face. She was staring behind me, at my phone on the counter, the screen facing up, the voice recording app clearly visible, running, 12 minutes recorded. My sister's eyes met mine, then she looked at my dad. She opened her mouth, closed it. Her hand gripped her purse strap so tight her knuckles went white. "Actually," she said slowly, "I need to use the bathroom." She left the room. I heard the bathroom door close. Lock. Dad turned back to me. "Sweetheart, we really need to finalize this today. The psychological evaluation is Tuesday. We want everything in order before then." Mr. Whitmore tapped the papers. "It's straightforward. You maintain ownership, but your parents handle the financial decisions until you're fully recovered, which could be 6 months, could be longer." "How much longer?" I asked. He glanced at my parents. "That depends on your progress." "What if I never progress?" Silence stretched across the room. My uncle shifted in his chair. My aunt studied her nails. "Let's not think negatively," Mom said. "The important thing is protecting you right now." My phone screen had gone dark, battery saver mode. The recording might have stopped. I couldn't tell without picking it up. The bathroom door opened. My sister returned. Her face was pale, but her jaw was set. She'd made some kind of decision. "I can't do this," she said. Everyone turned. "Can't do what, honey?" Mom's voice had a warning edge. "Any of this?" My sister looked at me. "I'm sorry. I almost went along with it, but I can't watch them destroy you." Dad stood up. "You're upset. Let's talk outside." "No." She pulled out her phone. "I recorded them last night, talking about the settlement, about keeping you incompetent, about the house they picked out, all of it." My uncle moved toward her. "Give me that phone. I already uploaded it." Her voice shook, but she didn't back down. "To 3 different cloud accounts. If anything happens to me or my sister, it automatically sends to the State Bar Association." Mr. Whitmore began packing his briefcase. "I think I'll step outside." "Wait." My aunt grabbed his arm. "We can explain. I'm an officer of the court." He pulled free. "I can't be part of this." He left. The door clicked shut. Dad's face had gone red. "You stupid girl. Do you have any idea what you've done?" "Yeah." My sister's hand found mine. "I saved my sister." Mom's tears were gone now. Her expression hardened into something I'd never seen before. "After everything we've given you, this is how you repay us? You gave me a house with a foundation made of lies, my sister said. I don't want it. My uncle stood. This isn't over. We'll fight this. We have rights as her parents. I picked up my phone. The recording was still running. 17 minutes now. You're right. This isn't over. Because now I have proof of fraud, conspiracy, and attempted exploitation of a disabled person. My attorney will love this. We're your family, Dad said. His voice cracked, almost convincing. Family doesn't do this. They left within 10 minutes. My aunt tried one more guilt trip at the door. My uncle threatened lawyers. Dad just stared at my sister like she'd betrayed him. Mom kissed my forehead and whispered, "You'll regret this." When the door closed, my sister collapsed onto the couch. Oh God, what did I just do? The right thing. They're going to hate me forever. Probably. She started crying. Real tears, not the performance kind our mother specialized in. I'm only 20. I don't have a job. They pay my tuition, my car payment, everything. I sat beside her. My head throbbed. The room tilted slightly, but I felt clearer than I had in weeks. We'll figure it out. How? I don't know yet, but we will. The next morning, I woke to 17 missed calls. My attorney had 2 voicemails. My parents had left 8. Voice messages ranged from apologetic to threatening. My aunt sent a text. You're making a terrible mistake. We only want what's best. My sister woke up on my couch. Her phone showed similar numbers. They're blowing up my phone. Don't answer. What if they report the car stolen? It's in their name. Park it at my attorney's office. He'll document it. We spent the morning documenting everything. I forwarded the recordings to my attorney. He listened twice. This is better than I hoped. And worse. Your family actually discussed keeping you sedated. Can we use it? Absolutely. But be prepared. They'll claim you were confused, that you misunderstood. I have my sister's recording too. He nodded. That helps. Still, family court is unpredictable. Judges hesitate to criminalize parents, especially parents who can afford good lawyers. My sister's college called that afternoon. Her tuition payment had been reversed. She had 48 hours to pay or she'd be dropped from classes. $14,000. I can't pay that, she said, voice hollow. The settlement is locked up, won't clear for weeks at minimum, and your parents will fight every withdrawal. She slumped against my kitchen counter. Maybe I should apologize, just until I graduate. They'll make you testify against me. I know. We sat in silence. Her education or my freedom, the choice our parents had engineered. I'll take a semester off, she finally said. Get a job. Go back later. You'll lose your scholarship. I'll figure something out. But she looked devastated. She was pre-med, had worked since high school for that scholarship. 1 semester off could derail everything. I called my attorney back. Can I access any settlement funds for an emergency? What kind of emergency? I explained. He made some calls. An hour later, I can petition for emergency disbursement, but it'll show your parents you're capable of making financial decisions. They'll use it against you. They'll use everything against me anyway. True. He filed the petition. The judge approved $5,000 for immediate medical expenses. Not enough for tuition, but enough to buy time. My sister found a job at a coffee shop. I went back to work part-time. My position at the marketing firm was still open. My boss had held it, expecting me back eventually. Take it slow, she said. You're recovering. But I needed to prove I was competent, capable. Everything my parents claimed I wasn't. The conservatorship hearing was scheduled for 3 weeks out. My attorney filed a counter-petition to dissolve the power of attorney, to void the trust structure my parents had created, to establish that I was mentally sound. My parents hired 3 lawyers. They filed motions claiming I was being manipulated by my sister and my attorney, that my recovery was incomplete, that I needed protection from myself. They sent my grandmother. She showed up at my door with casserole and concern. Your parents are worried sick. They just want to help. They want to help themselves to my money. That's not fair. They've always provided for you. Until I was worth millions. Then they tried to keep me in a coma. Her face creased. You don't mean that. I have recordings. She left the casserole, took back her sympathy. My father's brother tried next, the one who wasn't involved in the planning. I know things got complicated, he said, but they're still your parents. This will destroy the family. They did that when they chose money over me. People make mistakes. This wasn't a mistake. It was a plan. He left too, taking his neutral position with him. The isolation was its own kind of sedation. I'd lost parents, aunt, uncle, grandmother, cousins. My sister had lost more. Her friends from home stopped calling. Our extended family chose sides, mostly theirs. They're telling people I brainwashed you, I told her one night, that I'm the villain. I know. She was studying for a biology exam at my kitchen table, still determined to keep her grades up even while working 40 hours a week. Aunt Linda called me a traitor at the grocery store, loud enough for everyone to hear. I'm sorry. Don't be. You didn't do this. But sometimes I wondered, maybe I should have played along, signed the papers, let them handle everything. My head still hurt. The balance issues remained. Some days I forgot words or lost time. Maybe they were right. Maybe I wasn't ready. My attorney noted, don't do that. Don't doubt yourself. That's what they want. What if I'm making it worse? Worse than being declared incompetent? Than losing control of your own life? At least I'd still have a family. You have your sister. That's family. The rest is just people who share your DNA. The psychological evaluation arrived on a Tuesday. Not the one my parents arranged. A court-ordered independent assessment. 3 hours of questions, puzzles, memory tests. The doctor was kind but thorough. Tell me about the accident. I described what I remembered. The intersection, the green light, the truck appearing from nowhere, the impact, then nothing until the hospital. And after you woke up, I detailed the overheard conversations, the medical records, the trust documents. She took notes without judgment. Do you believe your parents were trying to harm you? I believe they were trying to control my money. That caused harm. How would you describe your current cognitive state? Improving. I have headaches, some memory gaps, balance issues, but I'm functional. I work. I handle my own affairs. What would you do with the settlement money? I'd thought about this. Set up a trust, real one, with an independent trustee, use it conservatively, pay my medical bills, help my sister finish college, maybe buy a small house. Nothing extravagant? I don't want extravagant. I want stability. She nodded, made more notes. And your relationship with your parents? Destroyed. Does that bother you? Yes, but not enough to let them win. The evaluation took 4 hours total. I left exhausted, head pounding. My sister drove me home. How'd it go? No idea. She gave nothing away. We waited. The report would go to the judge. Both sides would see it before the hearing. My attorney said it was crucial. If she finds you incompetent, we're in trouble. If she finds you sound, we're golden. The report came back 8 days later. My attorney called immediately. She found you competent. Some lingering effects from the trauma, but nothing that impairs judgment or decision-making. Relief flooded through me. So we win? Not yet. Your parents can still challenge. Bring their own experts. But this is solid. The hearing was 5 days out. My parents' lawyers filed a motion to delay. Denied. They filed another motion to suppress my recordings. Denied. They requested a jury trial. Denied. My father called me directly. I didn't answer. He left a message. Please, let's settle this privately. We can work something out. Don't let lawyers destroy our family. My mother texted. I'm your mother. I gave birth to you, raised you, sacrificed everything for you. How can you do this to me? My aunt sent flowers with a card. Family is forever. Money isn't worth this. The day before the hearing, my sister found me crying in the bathroom. What's wrong? What if I'm making a mistake? What if they really were trying to help? You heard them, in the hospital. But what if I misunderstood? I'd just woken up. I was confused. She knelt beside me. I heard them too. At home, planning. You didn't misunderstand anything. I'm losing everyone. You're losing people who see you as a paycheck. Not the same thing. The courthouse was old stone, worn steps, heavy doors. We arrived 30 minutes early. My parents were already there with their lawyers. Mom wore black, theatrical grief. Dad's face was blank. My aunt sat behind them, my uncle, my grandmother, all in the first row like mourners at a funeral. My side of the courtroom held my sister, my attorney, and one of my coworkers who'd taken the morning off to support me. The judge was a woman in her 60s, Judge Ellen Hartwick. She'd handled family court for 20 years, according to my attorney. She's fair but tough, doesn't suffer fools. My parents' lead attorney was Preston Gaines. Silver hair, expensive suit, commanding voice. He started strong. Your Honor, this is a tragic case of a young woman whose brain injury has impaired her judgment. Her parents, who have only ever wanted the best for her, are being vilified for trying to protect her. He painted them as devoted, sacrificial, victims of my confusion and my sister's manipulation. The evidence will show that every decision they made was in her best interest. The trust structure was designed to protect her. The medical recommendations were based on doctor consultations, and the settlement negotiations were handled with her welfare as the primary concern. My attorney stood, Samuel Chen, mid-40s, quiet but precise. Your Honor, the evidence will show something else entirely. A pattern of financial exploitation, of deliberately prolonging a coma to maintain control, of attempting to establish permanent guardianship over a mentally competent adult. Judge Hartwick looked at the files in front of her. I've reviewed the medical records, the psychological evaluation, and listened to the recordings provided by both parties. Mr. Gaines, your clients discussed keeping their daughter sedated. Explain that. Preston Gaines didn't miss a beat. Those conversations were taken out of context. My clients were discussing the medical team's recommendations. Their daughter was seriously injured. They wanted to ensure she healed properly before being subjected to stress. By requesting unnecessary sedation? By following medical advice they believed was in her best interest. The medical records show 14 instances where they declined to reduce sedation against recommendations. They were being cautious, or calculating. Judge Hartwick's expression gave nothing away. Let's hear from the daughter. I took the stand. My legs shook. My attorney smiled encouragement. Preston Gaines approached first. Cross-examination. He started gentle. You've been through a terrible trauma. No one disputes that. You're recovering from a serious brain injury. Is that correct? Yes. And you still experience symptoms, headaches, memory issues? Sometimes, but they're improving. But they exist. You're not fully recovered. The doctor said full recovery could take a year. That doesn't mean I'm incompetent. He switched angles. You love your parents, don't you? I did. Past tense? Because of this money? Because of what they did. What they did was try to protect you. They set up a trust to ensure your settlement was managed properly. They consulted with medical professionals about your care. They hired an estate manager to help you navigate complex financial decisions. And for this, you accuse them of exploitation? They tried to keep me unconscious. You believe that, based on conversations you overheard while emerging from a coma, while heavily medicated, in an altered mental state. I know what I heard, or what you think you heard. He smiled, sympathetic. I'm not saying you're lying. I'm saying you might be mistaken, that your injury might have affected your perception. My sister heard it too. Your sister, who stood to lose her college funding if she didn't support you? Who might have her own motivations? My attorney objected. Judge Hartwick sustained it. But the seed was planted. Maybe I was confused. Maybe my sister had her own agenda. Preston Gaines continued. Let me ask you this. If your parents were truly trying to exploit you, why would they hire a court-certified estate manager? Why would they consult with multiple attorneys? Why would they document everything so carefully? To make it look legitimate. Or because it was legitimate. Because they were doing exactly what parents should do, protecting their injured child. He wrapped up, sat down. I felt shaky. He'd made me sound paranoid, ungrateful, delusional. My attorney's redirect was brief. Do you believe you're capable of managing your own affairs? Yes. Do you want your parents controlling your money? No. Why not? Because they see it as theirs, not mine. Thank you. My sister testified next. She described the conversations she'd overheard, the planning, the excitement about the settlement. Preston Gaines tore into her, suggested she was lying to secure financial support from me, implied she'd manipulated me against our parents, made her cry on the stand. The medical expert my parents hired testified that brain injury patients often experience paranoia, distorted thinking, damaged relationships with caregivers, that my accusations fit a classic pattern. The court-appointed psychologist testified that I was competent, traumatized, yes, damaged family relationships, yes, but capable of managing my own affairs. Dr. Patterson, my neurologist, testified via video. He confirmed that I was recovering well, that my parents had indeed requested extended sedation, that he'd found it unusual at the time, but deferred to their wishes. Would you defer to those wishes now? My attorney asked. No. In hindsight, I should have questioned them more carefully. The hearing stretched across 2 days. By the end, I couldn't read the judge's expression. She'd asked pointed questions of everyone, seemed skeptical of both sides. I'll issue my ruling within 10 days, she said. This court is adjourned. Those 10 days were torture. I worked. My sister studied. We avoided talking about the case. At night, I lay awake running through scenarios. Best case, full control of my settlement. Worst case, conservatorship under my parents. Middle ground, court-appointed neutral trustee. My attorney called on day 9. Judge issued her ruling. My heart stopped. And you won. Full control. Power of attorney revoked. Trust structure dissolved. She found your parents acted in bad faith. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. She was pretty harsh in her written opinion, he continued. Called their behavior deeply troubling and a betrayal of parental duty. She's referring the matter to the state bar to investigate their attorneys for ethics violations. So it's over? This part is, they could appeal, but honestly, I doubt they will. The opinion is pretty damning. An appeal would just publicize it more. I told my sister. She screamed, actually screamed with joy. We cried together. Relief and grief tangled up. We'd won, but we'd lost our family in the process. The settlement cleared 3 weeks later. $4.3 million appeared in my account. I stared at the number. It felt surreal, dirty, blood money earned by almost dying. I hired a financial advisor, a real one, recommended by 3 independent sources. He helped me set up a proper trust, conservative investments, monthly allowance that would let me live comfortably but not extravagantly, emergency fund, medical fund, education fund for my sister. I paid her tuition, all of it. She cried again. I can't accept this. Yes, you can. It's not a gift. It's what family does. She enrolled for spring semester. Her scholarship was reinstated. She'd graduate only 1 semester late. I bought a small house, 3 bedrooms, nothing fancy. 1 room for me, 1 for my sister. 1 for guests who never came because everyone we knew had chosen sides. My parents didn't appeal. They did start a whisper campaign. At church, at the country club, in Christmas cards to relatives. I was the ungrateful daughter, the one who abandoned her family over money, who turned her sister against them, who destroyed their reputation. My aunt sent a final message. I hope you're happy. You got your money. Was it worth losing everyone who loves you? I didn't respond. Because the answer was complicated. Yes, because they didn't actually love me. No, because losing family hurts even when they're toxic. Maybe, because I was still learning to live with my choice. My sister thrived. Her grades improved without the stress. She joined clubs, made new friends who didn't know our family drama, started dating someone kind who didn't care about money or settlements or court cases. I went back to work full-time. My boss promoted me to senior account manager. You've proven you can handle pressure, she said. I didn't tell her the pressure had almost broken me. The headaches faded. The balance issues resolved. Physically, I recovered. Emotionally, I'm still working on it. Therapy helped. My therapist specialized in family trauma. She validated my experience, helped me understand that choosing myself wasn't selfish. Your parents showed you who they were, she said. Believing them wasn't wrong. It was survival. 6 months after the settlement cleared, I saw my mother at the grocery store. She was alone, looked smaller somehow. When she saw me, her face crumpled. Please, she said, can we talk? Part of me wanted to say yes, wanted to hear her apologize, explain, prove it had all been a terrible misunderstanding. But I remembered her voice in the hospital hallway, the coldness when her plan fell apart, the tears that were performance, not pain. I don't think so. I'm your mother. You made a choice. I made mine. I walked past her. She didn't follow. My hands shook pushing the cart, but I didn't turn around. My father sent a letter, handwritten, 3 pages. It started with love, moved through justification, ended with anger. You'll regret this. Family is everything. Money is nothing. Someday you'll understand what we were trying to do. I filed it away. Maybe someday I would understand, but I doubted it. A year after the accident, my sister and I went back to the intersection where it happened. The traffic light was fixed. A memorial marked the spot. Someone else had died there 6 months earlier. Different truck, different victim, same intersection. Do you ever wish it didn't happen? My sister asked. The accident? Sometimes. Then I remember I might never have known. About them. About what they're capable of. Is that better? Knowing? I think so. Ignorance feels comfortable, but it's still ignorance. We stood there watching cars pass. The light changed. Green to yellow to red. Predictable patterns. Unlike family. Unlike love that turned to exploitation the moment money entered the equation. My sister went back to school that fall. Pre-med. She wanted to be a pediatrician. Work with kids whose families failed them. I want to be the adult who shows up, she said. The one who doesn't disappear when things get hard. I knew she was talking about more than medicine. About our parents. About lessons learned from betrayal. I used some settlement money to start a scholarship fund for kids whose families pulled educational support, who needed a bridge to finish school. I named it after my grandmother, the one who chose my parents' side. Small rebellion, private joke. She'd be horrified to be associated with helping abandoned children. My ex-boyfriend called 18 months after the accident. We'd broken up before the settlement. He'd heard about everything. I just wanted to say I'm proud of you. What you did took guts. I didn't feel gutsy. I felt terrified. That's when courage counts. We didn't get back together. Too much water under that bridge. But the call meant something. Proof that not everyone believed my parents' version. I ran into my uncle at a restaurant, the one who'd drawn up investment plans during my coma. He was with his family, his daughter, my cousin. She'd been at the hearing, testified on my parents' behalf, said I'd always been dramatic, attention-seeking, probably made up the whole thing. When she saw me, she looked away, guilty or embarrassed. Maybe both. My uncle nodded, civil, cold. We didn't speak. That night, I dreamed about the accident. But in the dream, I stayed unconscious. My parents got the money, kept me sedated, bought their house, lived their upgraded life, and I floated in that space between waking and sleeping forever, never knowing, never fighting back. I woke up sweating, grateful, because whatever I'd lost, I'd gained something too. Agency, truth, the knowledge that I could survive without them. 2 years post-accident, my sister matched for medical school. Top program, full ride. We celebrated at the small house, just us, pizza and cheap champagne. I couldn't have done this without you, she said. Yes, you could have. No, I would have given up, gone back, let them win. Then we saved each other. She raised her glass. To surviving family, to choosing ourselves. We drank. The champagne was terrible. The pizza was cold, and I felt happier than I had in years. My parents never reached out again after that grocery store encounter. Maybe they'd moved on, found other things to focus their attention on. Maybe they told themselves they'd been right all along, that I was ungrateful, damaged, lost. I didn't check, didn't seek updates through remaining relatives. That door was closed, locked, and I'd thrown away the key. The settlement money lasted because I was careful. Conservative investments, modest living. The financial advisor kept me on track when I wanted to splurge or self-destruct or prove something to people who weren't watching anyway. 3 years after waking up, I met someone. He knew my history. The accident, the lawsuit, the family implosion. He didn't care about the money, worked construction, made enough, wanted simple things, honesty, partnership, someone who showed up. My family's complicated too, he said on our 4th date, but they're still my family. You chose differently. I respect that. Even though it means I might do it again, choose myself over everyone, especially because of that. We took it slow. I'd learned caution, learned that love and exploitation sometimes wore the same face until money revealed the difference. But he was patient, consistent. When my sister needed help moving apartments, he showed up with his truck. Didn't ask for gas money, didn't mention the settlement, just helped because that's what you do for people you care about. My sister finished medical school, matched for residency in pediatrics. I flew out for her white coat ceremony. She looked small in the coat, young but determined. Mom and Dad weren't there, she said later. I kept expecting them. Stupid, right? After everything. Not stupid, human. Do you ever miss them? I miss who I thought they were, not who they turned out to be. Same. We left it there. Some wounds don't heal. They just stop bleeding eventually. Leave scars that ache when the weather changes, when holidays come, when you see parents with their adult children and remember you'll never have that again. 4 years post-accident, I sold the small house, moved to a different city, fresh start, new job. I told people I had a sister in medical school, didn't mention parents. When they asked, I said we weren't close. Most people let it drop. The ones who pushed got vague answers. Eventually, they stopped asking. I had the settlement, the safety net, but I worked anyway. Needed purpose beyond being a woman who almost died and got rich from it. Built a career in marketing. Made friends who knew nothing about comas or courtrooms or families who valued money over daughters. My sister visited when she could. We talked every week. She was my family now, the only one who mattered. She dated someone serious. Brought him to meet me. I grilled him harder than any parent would. Wanted to make sure he was genuine, kind. Showed up. He passed. They got engaged. Asked me to be maid of honor. Who's walking you down the aisle? I asked. I'm walking myself. Or maybe you could walk with me. We walked together. 2 sisters who'd survived. Who'd chosen each other when everyone else chose money. The wedding was small. His family, her friends, my new friends. No one from our side except us. During the reception, someone asked about her parents. She said they weren't able to make it. True enough, they weren't able to support her without conditions, without control, without making her choose between them and me. 5 years after waking up, I was in therapy talking about forgiveness. Do you want to forgive them? My therapist asked. Sometimes. Other times I want them to suffer. Mostly I want to stop thinking about it. Forgiveness isn't for them. It's for you. Feels like letting them off the hook. Holding the hook hurts you more than them. I thought about it. Tried. But forgiveness felt like betraying myself. Like saying what they did was okay. It wasn't okay. Would never be okay. Maybe someday I'd get there. But not yet. The settlement was half gone. Smart investments, conservative spending, helping my sister, buying the house, moving, living modestly but comfortably. The financial advisor said it would last another 20 years if I was careful, longer if I kept working. What happens after that? I asked. You'll be fine. You have a career, a life. This is just a safety net. But it was more than that. It was proof, evidence. The reason my parents tried to destroy me. Every dollar was a reminder of what they valued more than their daughter. 6 years post-accident, my headaches were completely gone. Balance perfect. Cognitively, I was sharper than before. Trauma had a weird way of forcing growth. I'd learned to trust my instincts, set boundaries, walk away from people who saw me as a resource instead of a person. My sister had her first child, a daughter. She named her after our grandmother. Different grandmother. Dad's mother. The one who died before we were born. The one who'd reportedly been kind. I'm breaking the cycle, my sister said, holding her newborn. She'll never question question whether I love her or love what she can give me. I watched her with that baby, saw the fierce protection, the unconditional love, everything our parents had failed to give us once money entered the picture. You're going to be an amazing mother. You'll help? Always. Because that's what family did. Real family. The kind you choose. The kind that shows up without conditions, without calculations, without asking what's in it for them. 7 years after the accident that changed everything, I got a message from my father's lawyer. Not his personal attorney, his estate lawyer. He'd died. Heart attack. Sudden. I was listed in the will. I stared at the message for an hour, felt nothing, then everything. Grief for the father I'd lost long before he died. Relief that I'd never have to decide about reconciliation. Anger that he died without apologizing. Guilt for feeling relief. The will left me nothing. Specifically mentioned me and specified 0 inheritance. His estate went to my mother, my aunt, various cousins. But he'd wanted me to know I was excluded. One final message from beyond the grave. You chose wrong. My sister called when she heard. Are you okay? I don't know. Should I be sad? You lost your father twice. Once when he chose money, once when he died. Either is enough reason for sadness. I didn't go to the funeral. My sister didn't either. We had a private moment instead. Raised glasses of cheap champagne. To complicated grief, she said. To surviving anyway, I added. We drank. Remembered the good parts. Before the accident. Before the settlement. When we'd been a family in the simple way. Imperfect, but intact. Those memories felt like they belonged to different people. Children who didn't know yet what their parents were capable of. My mother sent a message through her attorney 6 months after the funeral. She was selling the house. The one they'd picked out during my coma. She couldn't afford it alone. The investments hadn't done well. She needed money. The message didn't ask directly, but the implication was clear. Help your mother, support family, do the right thing. I didn't respond. The right thing was protecting myself, maintaining boundaries, not enabling people who'd tried to exploit me, not rewarding bad behavior with rescue. My therapist called it self-preservation. My mother probably called it cruelty. We were both right from our own perspectives. 8 years after waking up from a coma worth millions, I was stable, happy even, working a job I liked, living in a city that felt like home, aunt to a niece who'd never know her grandparents, sister to someone who'd risked everything to tell the truth. The settlement was mostly gone now, carefully spent, wisely invested. What remained was safety, not wealth, just enough to know I'd be okay if things fell apart. I thought about my parents sometimes, wondered if they'd regretted their choices, if they'd lain awake at night calculating the cost of their greed. If my father had died wishing he'd chosen differently, probably not. People who justify exploitation rarely admit wrongdoing. They rewrite history, make themselves the victims, convince themselves they were protecting, not stealing, helping, not hurting. My sister finished her residency, started her practice, treated kids with the fierce advocacy of someone who knew what abandonment felt like. Her daughter turned 3, called me auntie. Knew nothing about settlements or court cases or family members who disappeared. Will you tell her? I asked my sister. When she's older? About what happened? Maybe. If she needs to know. If it helps her understand that family isn't always safe. That sometimes choosing yourself is the only option. Heavy lesson for a kid. She'll have us. She'll be okay. We sat in her backyard watching her daughter play. The sun was setting. The air was warm. Everything felt ordinary. Normal. Like maybe we'd survived after all. 9 years post-accident, I met my mother one last time. Not planned, not wanted. Just chance. She was at a park. Looked older, tired. She saw me and froze. I could have walked away. Should have, probably. But something made me stop. Hello, she said. Tentative. Testing. Hello. Silence stretched between us. 9 years of it, really. Compounded into one awkward moment. How are you? She asked. Fine. I heard you moved. New city. Yes. Your sister had a baby. Yes. More silence. She looked like she wanted to say something important. I waited, but nothing came. Maybe there was nothing left to say. Maybe she didn't know how to apologize for trying to keep me unconscious while planning how to spend my money. Maybe she still thought she'd been right. Take care, I finally said. I walked away. She didn't call after me, and I felt nothing. No anger, no grief. Just the neutral acknowledgement that this person had given birth to me but wasn't my mother anymore. Not in any way that mattered. 10 years after the accident, I wrote down everything. The whole story, every detail. Put it in a file, sealed it, left instructions with my attorney. If my mother ever tried to claim we'd reconciled, if my family ever rewrote history publicly, if anyone tried to paint me as the villain who abandoned her loving family, this was the truth. Documented, recorded, proven. I didn't plan to publish it. Didn't need vindication. Just wanted the record clear, in case it mattered someday. My sister read it, cried. Do you think about it less now that it's all written down? Sometimes, but mostly I think about what I built instead, the life I made after. Was it worth it, losing everyone? I thought about my niece, my sister's fierce love, my career, my friends, the partner who showed up consistently, the peace of knowing I'd chosen myself when it mattered most. Yes, I said, even with everything we lost. Yes, she nodded. We understood each other, had survived the same crucible, come out different but intact. The settlement money ran out in year 12. I'd planned for it, had a job, saving, modest life that didn't require millions. The money had bought time, safety, freedom from my parents' control, but it hadn't made me happy. That came from other things, smaller things, the kind that don't appear on balance sheets. My sister became chief of pediatrics at her hospital. My niece started first grade. I got promoted to director of marketing. Life continued, built from choices, not inheritance. From work, not windfalls. From showing up every day and choosing to be okay. Sometimes I still woke up from dreams about the accident, the truck, the impact, the hospital hallway, my family's voices calculating my worth while I lay unconscious. But the dreams didn't devastate me anymore. They were just echoes, reminders of who I used to be, who they turned out to be, how I survived anyway. People asked sometimes about my family. I kept answers simple, not close. Most didn't push. Those who did got truth. They tried to exploit me when I was vulnerable. I chose myself instead. Some people judge. Family is family, they'd say. You only get one, but they didn't understand. Family should be safety. Mine had been danger disguised as love. Walking away wasn't cruelty. It was survival. 15 years after waking up, I barely thought about the settlement. It was just a thing that happened, like the accident, like the coma, part of my history, not my identity. I focused on other things. My sister's family, my career, relationships built on trust instead of transaction, the quiet satisfaction of a life lived on my own terms. And if I occasionally wondered what my parents thought, if they regretted anything, if they told themselves revised versions where they were victims, I didn't dwell. Their story wasn't mine anymore. I'd written my own ending, one where I woke up, saw the truth, and chose myself. That was enough.